9th of April 2024. There's news flash. I'm going to talk about this thing of Kusile, where they're going to shut down 3 of the units again. Now they tell us that they're shutting them down to fix those exhaust pipe shit that they picked up about a year ago. What I can't understand is that the Russians can repair the Krim bridge in about 3 weeks, and these guys can't fix their exhaust in a year. But that is South Africa, that is Eskom. But what you have to take into consideration is this load shedding. We've now had a spell here, it seems to me, if I remember correctly, about 8 days of no load shedding. I don't know how the hell they're doing it, but somewhere something is being revved like hell to keep this going. Why are they keeping it going? Well, one thing I'm sure, Eskom has got its new tariffs, so they're milking as much out of us as they can. But the reality is this, that Eskom is standing on very wobbly legs. Now with every load shedding session, waterworks are affected. And people do not want to see the reality of the danger of the water system. Now what happened here in South Africa? What happened? The ANC got into control and they looked around and they thought, okay, where can we steal? They think, Praza, that's a good thing. Let's fuck Praza up and the taxis can make money. And all of us has got shares in taxis and so forth. So they did it. And they did it quite effectively. And Praza is basically fucked. You know it. And the people, us, the people, are paying like hell to ride those taxis to get to work and wherever they want to go. And then they thought, this worked well. Let's try next one. Okay, let's fuck the railway system up. Transnet. Then we can get trucks onto the road. And they did it. And you know what's going on. The railway infrastructure has been basically destroyed. But the country's roads are full of trucks. And carters are making money like hell out of those trucks. But what they don't tell you, and what they didn't calculate, and I'm sure they couldn't calculate it because of mental impairment. They do not have the IQ to foresee shit. They can't plan. That's why they don't plan, because they can't plan. Ripping Praza apart, placed thousands of taxis onto the road, with the congestion and the danger and the accidents and all of that involved. That they didn't take into calculation when they destroyed Praza. With the trucks, they didn't foresee that those trucks are going to destroy the roads. And they're going to fuck the roads to such a point that even those trucks won't be able to function properly. Go and talk to truckers, they'll tell you how they struggle on some roads. So, they didn't foresee the consequences of their idiocy. And then they looked around and they thought, okay, where else can we steal? And they said, Eskom sounds like a good plan. And they started stealing at Eskom. And you know what the results is. You see it around you every day. And once again, they didn't foresee the consequences of their idiocy. And they did not foresee the consequences of their fuck-ups in Eskom with the water systems. All of a sudden now, that water system is on the verge of collapsing. There are areas that are sometimes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks without running water. And there's areas where the running water is absolutely, totally unusable, not fit for human consumption. Now, how do they think that people must survive? How do they think? Because it is almost physically impossible for a human being to last longer than 3 days without water. But now drinking that contaminated water gives rise to diseases. And what do you know? They fucked the hospital system up as well. Who would have thought that the collapsed hospital systems cannot cope with masses of people getting sick? And that's where we are. But they didn't only fuck the hospitals up, they fucked the education system. Now to many people that seems, it's not so serious. But look at the reality. We are now sitting with people that has completed their schools in that fucked up system, and they can't read and write properly. There's almost small percentage of those matriculants passed mathematics. And then they say, why do you need maths? They've got calculators. Okay. But maths is much more than just totaling a few numbers. Math teaches children to think and to solve problems. They don't teach them like that. They don't teach them that. Why must they solve problems? They like problems. And if a problem is too big, they just ignore the problem. So they don't believe in solving problems. And then the voters sit here and they fucking argue among one another, which is the best party to vote for, ANC, DA, Gayton, MK, and it's a circular argument. But they don't take into consideration that between the ANC, the DA, the EFF, and the Freedom Front Plus, the country was fucked into the ground. The DA is trying to distance themselves from a fuck up. They had a hand in it. Same with the Freedom Front Plus. They tried to distance themselves from it. They had a hand in it. And if you go and look at the obscene salaries that they get, you will understand why they are protecting that sewage pond that is South Africa. Because they are the hyacinths and water lettuce. They are in full bloom, proudly displaying their glorious leaves and green while floating on a sewage pond. And they know if they clean the pond up, they're dead. So they're not going to clean the pond up. But just trying to make you understand that the destruction done by the ANC, the destruction cheered on and physically promoted in many instances by the EFF. And you, the voter, you think they give a shit about you. You live in La La Land. They don't feel anything for you. Nothing. They don't care. They've got big houses with generators. They've got lots of money. There's nothing that they short. They don't know about load shedding. They don't worry about Praza because they've got blue light brigades transporting wherever they want to be, and if they're not traveling in the blue light brigades, they're flying. They don't give a fuck for you. And that's all that political parties. Not a single one can plead innocence. Not one. But stupid voters will vote for them. And then Moses 6 verse 6 kicks in. Stupid people must suffer. Unfortunately, when it comes to the infrastructure of South Africa that has been destroyed, we are now in the realm of Moses 6 verse 13. And verse 13 says clearly, fuck around and find out. And we are now finding out. So, you see they talk about Kusile that's got to switch off 3 units. Don't focus on the 3 units. Think what it is going to do to your water supply. Please give me a like and subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.